Check. This movie sucks. Check. Not off to a good start here.
So before I get into this review, I'm going to be going over how my rating system works. So 10 to 7 is a positive review for the movie, with 10 being an absolute beautiful day. 9? It's a 9. Watch the movie. 8 is great. 7 is good. 6 to 4, now getting in the mixed section, with 6 being a possible good. 5, a 50-50. 4, not quite bad, but you get a pass. 3 and under, now being in the negative section, with 3 being bad, 2 being really bad, 1 being the gates of hell, and 0 being nowhere you want to go. So let's get this started.
Now, usually, intros generally don't fuck with me. They can go a million different ways, and with being the intro, the movie has, the opportunities for what this film could display are endless. And it's not that this specific intro is bad. I understand that with some intros, you really need to hear a little bit of the story first before shit actually loosens up and gets interesting. But in this case, the score, the writing, the pacing, it's all so bland. Cinematography is useful and you see some emotion from the characters at the start of this film, but it needed more than that. There's acting in the movie. Like, everyone is trying, but it's kind of hard to take them seriously. If it weren't for the fact that I knew what the actors were trying to portray, and besides the fact that I actually know the story that the film is set with, I honestly would have been just lost by the performances. Everything is either underperformed or they're trying too hard. Again, they're trying, but they're either not hitting it hard enough or they're just going way too out of bounds, which is really annoying because I have respect for the story. And again, with the little info that we knew of the movie upon release, that kind of amped me up. Besides the fact of it slapping on that juicy advertising of, producers of Us and Get Out, which, don't get me wrong, I respect my boy Jordan Peele, but the dude had nothing to do with this, so stop giving him a bad name. Blumhouse, I'm looking at you. Was this Blumhouse? It just feels like a lot of the actors in the film weren't directed properly. There are scenes where the actors, their performances, do get you amped. But it happens in such a random manner that it kind of pisses you off. Because when you get that rush, it feels like you're being played. And no disrespect to new actors, but with a script like this, and again also with its beautiful cinematography, maybe they just kind of underdid themselves. Is it underdid or underdone? They kind of underplayed themselves in this sort of aspect. Because yes, they are trying, but I think that it was either too much to take on in a sense, or again, the directors did not give the right pointers. And this is a directorial debut, because I know that this was co-directed, but I know that at least one of the directors, this was their debut, which is obviously either going to be a fucking hit or it's going to be a fucking shit. It's the first film. But I guess we'll just have to see where this director goes next. Also, a lot of the material in the film just kind of felt very insecure. There is cringeworthy and pretty unnecessary material in the film that just kind of come off really ridiculous. And it really does kind of feel like one of those films where you should have just watched the trailer. Though, going into a more positive note, actually, the color palette and nature of the film is splendid. But it all goes back to the writing. The film has these really long, drawn-out flashback and dream sequences, and they're all very confusing because of what the film actually asks from the viewers. Especially after the involvement of the previous scene or scenes, which in this case, like 40 minutes worth of material. And again, that layout, that environment that I had described at the beginning of this review is the movie for the first 40 minutes. And then it transitions into this dream sequence where it's supposed to give you more context and more background, but it feels like a completely different film. And in this case, it's not what we need to see. It's nothing necessarily engaging. You feel what the film is trying to do, but it completely loses you. And again, it's so long and random and drawn out that feels like just, again, such a fucking long time. Because it's just so slow that you forget what the hell even happened, right before this. Though, in saying that, I think it's toward the end of the sequence, specifically, that you get actually the most offering from the film. The performances are really good, as well as the writing and even the ambience and the atmosphere. It's all pretty okay. And honestly, after this piece of the film, I actually started to feel more for the film itself. I actually wanted to feel for the film and actually kind of get on its level. But all that goes away to a really large degree as soon as that sequence ends. The writing directing and acting of that last scene made me laugh and then sigh, which leads into the final few minutes of the film. So in this case, just like the intro, this is typically where the film tries to redeem itself. It should use all that it has learned and all that it can offer, but what we get instead is an ending that could have happened literally any point in the movie. It doesn't feel planned out, it doesn't feel rewarding, and this is the worst part, but the writing is so minimal. And if that doesn't say all that, you need to hear, they literally try and trick you with this triumphant music, and whenever something even remotely interesting happens, they edit the fuck out of it to make it look like more substantial than it actually is. But it's like, hey, we see you. We've been watching this for 90 minutes. Don't try and trick me. And speaking of tricks, there is no trick ending. There's not. There's no twist ending. There's no climax. The movie just ends. It feels like the right tools were given to this film, but they just weren't touched. Damn, I really did not want to flat out roast this film. Holy shit, I fucking trashed this film. This might be one of the worst films I've seen this year. I'm going to give Antebellum a 3.6 out of 10. So, funny story about this review. I was going to drop this review literally 2 days ago, like when the movie was released. But it took me like 3 times to actually finish the movie. And then we obviously we got Mario 3D remasters on that day. So it's like, do I actually want to talk about this sucky ass film, or do I want to play these games? But for you guys, I did, take the notes. I did watch the film. I did film the review. So you guys will take this as you will. Let me know what you guys thought of Antebellum. For those who have watched it, who actually want to pay this much for a film this low. But yeah, Antebellum was not even close to one of the better movies this year. And I'm missing my 7 and ups. I mean, Tenet did fine, but we need more this year, guys. So yeah, let me guys know what you thought about Antebellum, if you guys even care about sharing. Parasite is coming next, as well as that last update for Pragmatophobia. And yeah, more reviews on the way as movies release. So we will see what gets delayed and what actually comes out, and we will go from there. So I will see you guys in the next video, as usual, and I hope that you guys have a great night. Thank you.